All right, it's a brand new semester, first or second week of school. You hopefully have gone to all your classes, looked at all the syllabi, know what's going on, and right now a whole bunch of you are or should be asking the question of whether or not you should drop a class. And so, what I'm going to do today is help you figure that out. I cannot tell you whether you should or should not, but I sure as hell can help you ask some questions to try to figure it out so that you make a really well informed, well justified, good decision that's in your best interest long term. So let's just jump right in and answer the question, should you drop that class? The first thing I want you to consider when you're considering whether or not you should drop the class is, where does it fit into your program? Where does it fit into your degree? Do you absolutely need it? And do you need it now? Because there are some circumstances where this class might be required for your major and it might not be offered again for another 3 semesters. Or this class is offered for your major by a particular professor who would be really, really important for you to take a class from because they're a huge name in their field. Or you have to take this class for financial aid. If you get rid of it, you fail to meet some requirements for a scholarship or your financial aid package because you will be violating satisfactory academic progress. All of those are questions that are worth asking. And I think students get them wrong a lot of times. More often than not, I see students getting them wrong because they think they need a class that they don't really need. Oftentimes, there are a gazillion courses that will satisfy the same requirement, and students think that only one will do it because an advisor helped them plug in that particular class. So make sure you need the class or don't need the class before you make a decision about whether or not you want to drop it. Second thing you're going to want to look at is, how does this course fit in with your schedule? First, you want to look at your academic schedule. Are all of the assignments in all of your classes due at the same time? Are they huge projects? Are you a person who really, really plans your time well? Really plans it well? I mean, has it scheduled and sticks to the schedule and gets assignments done well in advance if they need to? Or are you someone who kind of leaves it all to the last 2 or 3 days before they're due? I'm not saying one's necessarily better than the other, but if you have 4 classes, all of which have 15-page papers due at the same time, or midterm exams all on the same day, then chances are you're going to let one of those balls drop when you're juggling them. So make sure your schedule's doable academically. More importantly, make sure it's doable personally. Because if it doesn't fit in with your work, your friends, your family, and those are more important to you, you are going to fail the class. Just going to. You're not necessarily going to fail it, but you're going to make things harder for yourself than you need to. If you are working the service industry and you're waiting tables, cocktailing Thursday, Friday, Saturday night from 5 p.m. to 2 a.m., and all of your assignments in an online class are due Saturday at midnight, you might want to really rethink that. You might want to really think, oh my gosh, am I going to really be willing to get all this stuff done in advance? Because that's on you, right? You have the schedule, you know it's due. If you put it off till the end, then that's on you. I see a lot of students who worry about a schedule or a particular calendar for a particular class when it's like they have plenty of time to do it. They just want to blame the instructor because they're used to putting everything off. If you can see that in the course of a week, an assignment's due or a discussion board's due Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and you know you're busy Friday and Saturday, that's on you to get it done early, not on the professor, teacher, instructor to give you an extension. So really think about, how does this fit in with my life? How does this fit in with my work schedule? How does this fit in with my sleep schedule? If you're used to playing Call of Duty all night, right? If you've just been crushing League of Legends at 4 a.m. all the time for the last 6 months, but you're like, this is the semester I'm going to get up at 8 a.m., that might not be an obstacle you want to create for yourself. There are going to be plenty, because chances are this isn't the time you're going to make that change. You can either force change upon yourself that you haven't been able to do for the last however many 18 to 25 to 45 years of your life, or you can schedule a class at a time where you know you'll be able to make it. So give yourself time. Give yourself a schedule that you can work with, and make sure all of your classes fit together in a way that you can manage. Decide that now so that you know if you need to drop a class or two. The last thing that's really the most important when you're considering whether or not you want to stay in a class or not is, will this class provide value for you? And the one thing to ask yourself first is, a class you aren't going to go to, that you aren't going to do the assignments for, that you don't like the teacher in, that you are going to fail, nobody benefits from failing a class. Well, that might be an exaggeration. There might be some super rare circumstances. But for the most part, not showing up, not doing the assignments, and not liking the teacher adds up to failing. Why are those important? Well, one, think about what the value of the class is to you. Is it just 3 credits? If it is, then you can work with some things. Do what it takes to get a C-, but know that you're rolling the dice. Because a lot of times people want to shoot for just a C and they don't do well enough, and then they get an F and then they're screwed. So really think, is this just a class I'm taking for credits? Or do I really want to get the value out of the course as it's designed? Which I would advocate for. So how do you know whether or not it's going to be valuable to you? Well, first, look at the teacher. You should have a pretty good idea of who they are and how they're going to approach it. I don't care if you like them necessarily. That's kind of nice. But there are teachers who will like you and be nice and are super friendly, and you still might fail their class, and you still might not do a very good job in it, and you still might not get anything out of it. Similarly, there can be teachers who you absolutely hate that you'll learn a ton from. So don't judge it based on how easy you think it will be necessarily. I'm not going to be critical of anyone who's like, oh yeah, I just need these credits, I'm going to take it because it's easy. That's fine. That's a legit choice in certain circumstances. But if you want to get value out of it, you're going to have to commit to, all right, this teacher, I might not like their style, but they're lecturing all day, every day. Okay, I'm going to focus on how can I become the best student in a lecture-based class I possibly can. I'm going to learn to take notes. I'm going to be as focused as I can possibly be through these boring, tedious lectures. That could be a legit reason to stay in a class. And I guarantee you, if you take a class like that and approach it that way, you will get more value out of it than if you just like, oh, well, I'm not going, I don't like it. So even if you don't like the teacher, you could still get value out of it. But if you know you're going to be the person, if in the past you've been like, oh, I just didn't do well in that class because the teacher sucked, that's on you. This is grown-up shit. No one's forcing you to go to college. No one is forcing you to go to college. Maybe if you're in like a concurrent enrollment high school program, but still, you're signing off. You chose to do that. So you can't blame the teacher. This is all on you. This is your first date. The first couple weeks of a class are your first date. Now that you're continuing to date them again, they don't get to refuse to date you. You're the one who has to make the call. You can drop the class and move on, or you can say, I'm signing up for this for 15 weeks. I'm going to try my best to do what their class is about and get the most out of it I can. And if I fail, it's on me, because you should know what's up. The other thing I want you to think about is, well, 2 other things. The first is not just the teacher, but the assignments. Really look at those assignments and the schedule. Are they something you're willing to do? Do the assignments line up with your life? Do you have a final or a midterm where you've already planned a family vacation? Because that's not on the instructor or teacher or professor to let you go on that vacation without having some sort of penalty, or to let you turn it in late. This is all you choosing to be in this class. So make that choice with all the information. You can always ask to turn something in late because your family's taking you to Aspen for spring break. But the teacher is totally entitled to say, hell no. And that's not on them if they do. It's on you for not figuring it out beforehand. So commit to the assignments and the activities and the sort of work you're going to be doing and finding value in it. And if it's something that you can't find value in, or you're going to bitch about and complain about and whine and moan about and hate the class about, that's not good for anybody. Just drop it. Take a different section. Take it another semester. Failing the class is on you. And if you fail it, it's not doing anybody any good. The last thing that can be a really important consideration is what you think the classroom environment's like, what you think the classroom community's like. Because it might be that the teacher kind of seems really hard, that the coursework seems really hard, but maybe it's a class in your major and you have 4 or 5 friends in there that are part of a cohort in your major. That could be a really valuable experience for the 4 of you to take a really hard class together and crush it and work together and collaborate. You can go over notes. You can study together. It might be worth it for a million different reasons to have people in that class that you want to work with. Or if it's a discussion-based class and you love discussion, it might be worth it, even if you don't love the teacher and you don't love the assignments, because you really want to benefit from the discussion. The flip side of that is it might be a discussion class and you hate discussion, but you know you ought to work on it. So maybe you're going to choose like, hey, I'm going to really try my best to work on this. And I'm making the decision right now. This is my time to shine. I'm going to do it. So whether or not you really jibe with what's going on is really important. So if you take those into account, you are going to make a good decision about whether or not you should drop a class. If have any question about it, I'm going to say something that I only say because I'm not associated with any college, because people would be pissed at me for saying it. Drop the class if you can do it. It's way better to have nothing, a blank space on your transcript. No one knows you ever took it or even were registered for 2 weeks. If you can swing it, if it doesn't conflict with financial aid, if it doesn't conflict with your major, if it doesn't conflict with everything, and you can just drop it, why not? It's so much better than an F on your transcript. And you don't get much out of a class you don't attend, you don't work hard in, you don't enjoy. So, do you need the class? How does it fit into your program of study? How is it going to affect your financial aid package? Does it fit with your life and schedule? Or is this your 18th through 21st? You really don't need to be taking that many, and you're working a full-time job. Does it fit in with the rest of your classes? So ask yourself that question and really be honest with yourself. Are you going to do it? Does it fit in with your life and your academic life? Is it going to be a valuable course? Can you work with the teacher? Can you work with the assignments? And can you work with the class that's there? If you answer all of those questions honestly and reflectively, you will make a perfect decision, no matter what it is, as to whether or not to drop a class. So think about it, make that decision, and then move on to have the most successful semester of your life, the one that's going to springboard you to academic glory, probably a PhD from MIT, and then you can be making videos telling me how to do shit. Thank you for the time. Have an awesome day. Bye.